almost quit. Before this channel even had a name, before we recorded a single second, I almost quit.
And I didn't know that. Not until right now.
Nobody did. I remember sitting at my kitchen table, laptop open, microphone still in the box, just thinking, who am I to do this? Who is actually going to listen?
And that voice right there, that is what today is about.
Because I don't think I'm the only one who has been there. That moment when you're right on the edge of something real, something that matters, and you just stop.
Today, we are talking about why we give up too soon. And honestly, this might be the most important conversation we ever have on this show. Welcome to Honestly English. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Ashley. This is a podcast for people who want to learn real English, not textbook English, not slow classroom English, but the kind of English you actually use in real life.
Every episode, we pick one topic, we go deep, we have a genuine conversation, and along the way, you pick up vocabulary, expressions, and natural language that you can actually use.
And we mean it when we say real. We're not going to talk at you. We're going to talk with you about things that actually matter.
Things like today's topic, why we give up too soon. And honestly, this might be the most important conversation we ever have on this show.
Okay, so let me tell you the full story. About 6 months before we launched this channel, I had the idea. I was genuinely excited. I wrote down notes, made a rough plan, stayed up late researching. I even bought a microphone.
The microphone is serious.
The microphone is very serious. That is not a small purchase. And then, nothing. For 3 months, that microphone sat in a box in my closet, untouched.
3 months. What was going through your head during that time?
Honestly, a lot of not yet. Like, I'm not ready yet, the idea isn't polished enough yet, I need to learn more first. But if I'm being really honest, underneath all of that, I just felt inadequate.
Not good enough. Lacking the qualities or skills needed for something.
Like I didn't have the right to be doing this. Like someone was going to look at what I made and say, "Who do you think you are?"
And so instead of doing something, you
I procrastinated, big time.
procrastinate. To keep delaying something you should do, usually because of fear or discomfort.
I watched other people's podcasts. I studied their formats. I compared myself to channels that had been running for years, which is honestly the worst thing you can possibly do when you are just starting out.
You were comparing your beginning to someone else's middle.
Oh, that's a really good line.
Write that down.
I'm writing it down. But yes, that's exactly what I was doing. And it made me feel so far behind that starting felt almost pointless. Like, why bother?
And what changed?
You called me. You said, "Are we doing this or not?" And I thought, okay. One episode, just to see.
And here we are.
Here we are. But what about you? Give me a story. When did you almost give up on something?
So mine is a little different from yours. A few years ago, I decided to learn Spanish. I was maybe 23, 24, and the first 2 months were great. I was motivated, I was making progress, I could feel myself improving every week.
That honeymoon phase.
Exactly. And then I hit month 3, and suddenly, nothing. I was studying just as hard, putting in the same time, but the progress felt invisible. Like I was running on a treadmill, moving but going nowhere.
That sounds so frustrating.
It was. And I remember sitting down one evening and thinking, maybe I'm just not a language person. Maybe this isn't for me. I was this close to quitting.
What stopped you?
I came across this idea, and it completely changed how I saw what was happening. It's called the Valley of Disappointment. The frustrating gap between when you start something and when you actually see real results. It looks like nothing is working, but progress is happening invisibly. And when I understood what it was, I realized I wasn't failing. I was in the valley. Almost everyone who gives up right there in the valley.
Because from inside the valley, it looks like nothing is working.
But something is working. You just can't see it yet.
Wow. I feel like I've been in that valley so many times and didn't have a word for it.
Most people don't, and that's part of the problem. When you don't understand why something feels hard, you assume it means you're doing it wrong or that you're just not capable.
But it's just the valley.
It's just the valley. So let's go deeper. Why do we actually give up? And I mean the real reason, not just it was too hard or I lost motivation.
Because saying I lost motivation feels like an explanation, but it kind of isn't, right?
It's a description, not a cause. The real cause goes deeper. It's biological. Our brains are literally designed to make us quit uncomfortable things.
Wait, say that again? Our brains want us to quit?
They want us to stay safe. The brain's number one job isn't to make you successful, it's to keep you alive and comfortable. So when you start doing something new, something that puts you at risk of failure, judgment, or embarrassment, your brain fires off warning signals. Unknown territory, possible danger, return to what you know.
That's what stepping outside your comfort zone actually feels like, that alarm.
Exactly. And your brain will work hard to bring you back inside that zone. It sends doubt. It sends fatigue. It sends that voice.
The inner critic.
The inner critic. The voice in your head that judges you, doubts your abilities, and tells you you're not good enough.
That voice and I have a long history.
We all do. And here's something that actually helped me a lot. The inner critic isn't trying to hurt you. It thinks it's protecting you. Its logic is, if you don't try, you can't fail. If you don't put yourself out there, you can't be embarrassed.
That's actually kind of sad when you put it that way. Like, it's not evil, it's just scared.
Exactly. And once you understand what it's doing, once you recognize the voice for what it is, you stop being controlled by it. You can hear it and keep going anyway.
And that is what resilience actually means, right?
Resilience, the ability to recover from difficulty and keep going. Emotional strength under pressure.
Yes, and I want to push back on how people usually describe resilience, because I think it creates a false picture. Resilience isn't about not feeling fear or doubt. It's about feeling those things and acting anyway.
Because I think so many people believe successful people just don't have doubt, like the inner critic never shows up for them. And that is completely false.
Completely false. The difference isn't the presence of doubt, it's what happens after the doubt shows up. And that comes down to self-talk.
The ongoing conversation you have with yourself inside your head, your internal narrative.
So, what does bad self-talk look like compared to good self-talk? Give me real examples.
Bad self-talk sounds like, I've been doing this for 2 months and nothing has happened. Everyone else is further ahead than me. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I was wrong about this. Sound familiar?
Painfully familiar. Go on.
Good self-talk sounds like, this is hard. That means it's worth doing. I'm not seeing results yet, but yet is the most important word in that sentence. Every day I'm building momentum I can't see.
That word momentum, I want to stay on that because I think it might be the most underrated concept in personal growth.
Say more.
Okay, here's an analogy I love.
Analogy, a comparison between two things used to explain or clarify an idea.
Think about a massive train. When it's sitting completely still, you cannot move it. 200 people could push with everything they have. That train is not going anywhere. But once that train starts moving, you cannot stop it with 200 people either.
The hard part is getting it moving.
The hard part is getting it moving, and most people quit before the train starts moving. They're there, pushing, straining, and nothing seems to be happening, so they think this isn't working. But they're so close. They're maybe 10 seconds from that first motion.
That's the valley of disappointment in physical form.
Which brings us to something I think is the most important factor in all of this, your why.
Your why, the deep personal reason behind what you're doing, your core motivation that goes beyond surface level goals.
Because momentum isn't just about keeping up the action, it's about meaning. If your why isn't strong enough, personal enough, every setback will feel like a valid reason to stop.
But if your why is big enough, setbacks become information, not conclusions.
That's such an important distinction. A setback as information, okay, what is this teaching me? Versus a setback as a conclusion, okay, I was right to think this wouldn't work.
Exactly. And in my experience, that's the real difference between people who push through and people who don't. It's not talent. It's not even effort, really. It's clarity about why they're doing it, combined with consistency.
And persistence.
Persistence plus consistency.
That's the formula, not talent.
I really want people to hear that.
Okay, let's get practical. You are in the valley. You are tired. You are doubting yourself. Your inner critic is loud and everything in you wants to quit. What do you actually do?
Tip 1, and I think this is the most important one. Go back to your why, not the version in your head. Write it down. And don't write something vague like, I want to be successful. Go deeper. Ask yourself, why does this matter to me? Who am I doing this for? What changes in my real daily life if I actually see this through?
Make it personal. Make it specific. Because vague goals don't give you fuel. Specific emotional goals do. The difference between I want to get fit and I want to have enough energy to play with my kids without getting tired, that second one has weight. It pulls you forward.
And when you feel like quitting, you go back to that specific image. That's your anchor.
Tip 2, lower the bar. Not forever, just for right now. When you're overwhelmed, you tend to stop completely, but doing one tiny thing, the smallest possible action, keeps momentum alive. One paragraph, one page, 5 minutes of practice, one email.
Tiny momentum is still momentum. When we complete even a small action, we get a little bit of satisfaction, and that satisfaction makes the next action easier.
It's a loop. Small action, small win, slightly more energy, slightly bigger action. That's how the train starts moving.
Okay, tip 3, and this one is really practical. Change your self-talk by changing your questions.
Ooh, I love this one. Say more.
So instead of asking yourself, why is this so hard, which your brain will cheerfully answer with a list of all the ways you're failing, ask instead, what can I learn from this difficulty? Or instead of, am I good enough, ask, what is one thing I did well today? Because your brain will answer whatever question you ask it.
Ask it a useful question, you get a useful answer. Ask it a destructive question, you get destruction.
Exactly. And once you practice this, it becomes second nature. The shift in perspective is almost physical. You can feel it.
Tip 4, find someone whose progress is contagious. Notice I said contagious. Not someone to compare yourself to. That's poison at this stage. But someone whose commitment and energy makes you want to keep going. A mentor, a community, even just someone online who reminds you what is possible when you don't quit.
Because motivation really is contagious. When you see someone else deep in their valley and still showing up every day, it gives you permission to do the same.
And it normalizes the struggle. Instead of thinking something is wrong with me because this is hard, you see that hard is just the process for everyone.
For everyone who is doing anything worth doing. Okay, tip 5. And this is one I personally started doing, and it changed everything for me.
What is it?
Track what you can't see. When progress feels invisible, and it will, write down what you did, not what you achieved. A simple daily log. Today, I showed up. Today, I did the work. Not the results, the actions.
Because in the valley, you cannot feel the progress, but the progress is happening. And when you can look back at a page full of days where you showed up, that becomes evidence, real written evidence against your inner critic.
It is very hard for that voice to say you're doing nothing when you have a list that says otherwise.
Exactly. The list becomes your proof.
5 tips. You want to run through them again quickly?
Tip 1, go back to your why. Write it down, make it specific and personal.
Tip 2, lower the bar. Do one small action instead of nothing.
Tip 3, change your questions. Ask your brain something useful.
Tip 4, find someone whose progress is contagious.
Tip 5, track your actions, not just your results.
5 practical ways to stay in the game when everything tells you to stop.
Okay, we end every episode the same way. One question, personal. Both of us answer it honestly. And today's question is, what is one thing you are choosing not to give up on right now?
I'll go first. For me, it's this. It's honestly English. Even now, even knowing what I know and believing in what we're building, I still have days. Days when the inner critic shows up and says, is this actually reaching anyone? Does it matter? Are you sure about this? And I have to choose every single day to keep going. So right now, today, I'm choosing not to give up on this channel, on this conversation, on you, whoever's listening.
I love that. Mine is a little more personal. I've been trying to build a daily writing habit for about 2 years now, just 10 minutes a day. That's the whole goal. And I keep starting and stopping, starting and stopping. For a long time, I treated every stop as a failure, proof that I wasn't disciplined enough.
And now?
Now, I've reframed it. Every time I start again, that is persistence, that is resilience in action. The stopping doesn't erase the starting. So I'm choosing not to give up on that habit. I'm on day 23 right now.
Day 23. That's momentum.
That's momentum.
Okay, now it is your turn. We genuinely want to hear from you. What is one thing you are choosing not to give up on right now? Leave a comment below. Seriously, every single comment gets read. And sometimes just writing it down, just making it public, makes the commitment feel real in a way it didn't before.
And if this episode gave you something, one word, one idea, one moment of, yes, that is exactly what I needed to hear, share it with one person, one friend, one colleague, one person you know who might be in their valley right now. That's how this community grows.
And that's what Honestly English is here for. Real conversations, real English, real life. We'll see you next time.
Take care of yourselves.